got a chance to see Red 1 with The Rock, J.K. Simmons, Chris Evans, Lucy Liu. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zenka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And, yeah, we're going to talk about Red 1. But before we do, remember, too, that I do write comics. And we just got Lords of LA issue 2 about a woman who is a lounge singer in 1950s Hollywood, where she is turned into a vampire and is forced to leave her newborn child. And it's a love triangle, even though it's not really a love triangle. She hates both of them, but she doesn't know which one turned her, so she decides to take vengeance on all of them 60 years later. And she returns and, you know, reacquaints with her family, even though they don't know who she is. And this is the first issue, and this is the second. So, yes, really good stuff. If you'd like a copy, they are 48 pages a piece. It was by Timothy Zahn. He is the creator of Thrawn, and he and Kevin J. Anderson, Brandon Easton, Bill Willingham have all teamed up to do a new Green Hornet anthology by Moonstone. I am going to be doing the Kickstarter on that. The link is in the description below. They are signing it as well. It's going to be amazing. So if you'd like to jump in on that, we're going to be launching the end of the year. But if you click to the description and the link below, it'll take you there and you can just sign up and get notifications. It's going to be great. All right, so let's talk about Red 1. So I've watched a bunch of people's reviews, and I can't say that they've hated it, but the reviews have not been good. So I really like the cast in here. So I'm like, you know what? I like action movies. Christmas is coming up. You know, I'm going to give it a shot. I just thought my expectations are going to be low. But come on. I know that The Rock was a diva on this set. He didn't show up on time most of the days he worked, which as a filmmaker, I find that would piss me off to no end. Dwayne, man, you can't do that shit, man. You can't, because the whole crew is then waiting for you, and then they're just sitting there doing nothing, and the producers are spending money doing nothing. You may not even make your day. It's bad. It's bad when your actors have that kind of level of disrespect. So anyway, I wasn't happy about that. Chris Evans, I can take it or leave him. Sometimes he's good. Sometimes he's not very good. Sometimes he plays stuff over the top. Where in this case, if everybody played over the top, it worked because the whole movie was over the top. I went in there, with, thinking, okay, Lucy Liu, I love Lucy Liu, and Kiernan Shipka, I like her a lot too. She's not doing very much. She does a movie here and a movie there. She probably doesn't need to do much. I liked her in Totally Killer. So, yeah, it was a great cast. J.K. Simmons, he's great in everything that he does. So I said, yeah, I'll go in there and watch it. Of course, it's also written, so it's directed by Jake Kasdan, who is Lawrence Kasdan's son. Lawrence Kasdan wrote The Empire Strikes Back. Well, he did the Jumanji films, okay? And so did the writers. The writers were also involved in the Jumanji films. So you have Chris Morgan and Hiram. I can't remember Hiram's last name, but they not only did Jumanji, but they also did Fast and the Furious. A bunch of them. Like 3 or 4 of them. Plus Black Adam. So you got to know what you're getting. Also Red Notice. He produced Red Notice, Hiram. And Shazam. He was executive producer on that. So just kind of think about all of those projects, and that's what you're getting here, okay? You're not getting... he also executive produced Fighting With My Family, which I absolutely loved. That was with Florence Pugh before I even knew who Florence Pugh was. I don't think anybody knew who she was. Even a household name at that time. But yeah, but if you just look at those films, you know you're getting an over-the-top film with plenty of action in it and not much substance. Although I have to say that there is some stuff in here, the world building side, I found very interesting. I kind of like the whole idea. Of course, a lot of the stuff is stolen. So this is like a movie that has ideas stolen from superhero movies and shows. So he's like, how do I get a Christmas movie with superhero stuff? That's kind of what this is. That's why it's a lot over the top, because it borrows from superhero mythology and then creates its own around that. But nothing in it is original. It's just everything just shoves together into this otherworldly thing where we wouldn't normally see those kind of elements. And that's what, to me, I found interesting. It starts out with Jack O'Malley, Jack O'Malley, as a pudgy child. You know, we were all pudgy at one time when we were kids. So anyway, he turns into Chris Evans, so you know he doesn't keep the pudge. But anyway, so he doesn't believe in Santa Claus, and he proves it to his cousins by finding, you know, the gifts. And then we jump ahead where he's a thief. Later in life, he has a child. I guess he had out of wedlock, and he doesn't really pay much attention to the child. So we have a father-son dynamic going on, and that's what we're going to touch on for the remainder of the film. That's like kind of the morality subject of the film. That's where the arc is. And then we have Callum, which is Callum Drift, which is played by The Rock. And he's about to retire because he doesn't see the good in adults anymore. So when adults, you know, he believes in the children, but he's like, too many of the children going into adults have become bad, where the naughty list is just at its largest that it's ever been throughout all of history. So we have all that going on, and then we have J.K. Simmons playing Santa Claus, and boy, is he buff for this. I mean, the guy's got to be in his late 60s, 70 years old, and he's all buff. That's pretty crazy. He looked pretty amazing, and of course, Lucy Liu looks, I mean, she's 55, and she looks great. I mean, she looks great. I still think she's hot. And then you have Kiernan Shipka, who's playing the villain. And she plays a really good villain, I thought. Again, over the top. Everything's over the top. But then again, you know, it's like the guys who do Jumanji and Fast and the Furious. It is what it is, man. But I liked how they were a North Pole, and Santa's whole village is a city, and it's domed up, so it's kind of like Themyscira, where it's hidden from the rest of the world. It has this big spire, and then we have this heist where they end up stealing, we don't get to see it, but they steal Santa Claus, and now we have to find him. So they find the guy who gave the coordinates to the villains, and that ended up being Chris Evans' character. So they abduct him, and they bring him back to the North Pole, where then he's introduced to this whole otherworldly thing, where Lucy Liu's character, Zoe, is the head of Mora, which is a mythological Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So they are the protectors of mythological creatures, or if the mythological creatures are villains, then they stop them. So we get to see the Headless Horseman, which I thought was really cool, and I guess they're trying to build their own superhero world out of this. So I wouldn't be surprised if this does make money, which most people say they're not, because Wicked's going to be in next time, although I think it's a completely different group of things. They do say that they curse in here, but I don't remember. I remember a curse word kind of half coming out, but I don't remember, like, again, I'm so desensitized to it, I probably didn't even hear it. But if they were going to do that, they should have, you know, because this is made for kids. It is made for kids. But does it go a little bit too far that maybe young kids aren't really going, it's too much for young kids? So I think it really doesn't know what it is, if that's the case. If it's made for adults, then great. But if it's made for kids, so it should have been at that Avengers level where it's good for both, you know. So maybe it went really more in one direction than the other. But I really love the world building, and I like the Homura shield idea. Although then they stole completely from Ant-Man. I don't know why they stole completely from Ant-Man, but they did. He's able to shrink and grow, meaning Callum, which is the rock. So he continually, through the whole thing, he shrinks and grows. And which I thought was weird. I mean, they did a good job with using it, but I'm like, this doesn't really fit this whole idea. And then he has this bracelet on, or this, gauntlet, where he can make toys into real things. So, and again, it's almost exactly like Ant-Man and the Wasp, where, they threw the discs out and then it shrunk everything or made it grow. It's the same thing, except this is a little type of thing. It's like a, not like a laser, but it's like Aquaman's, mental things, pretty much. But anyway, so they get cars out of the store. It's a total brand. There's a lot of branding going on here, but Hot Wheels was one of them. We got to see Rock'em Sock'em Robots. I was like, oh my God, that's great. We finally get to see that in a movie. I love Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and we get to see the head come off. And so I had a lot of fun with this movie, as you can tell. Is it a little long? Yeah, it's a little long. I can't really disagree with what other people have said about the film. I just saw it. I guess because I saw the reviews ahead of time, my expectations were down here. So I ended up, I think, liking it better because I was expecting it to be awful and just wasn't awful. In fact, I recommend it if you just want to have a good time with a Christmas movie. And we got to see all this magic that occurs on how Santa Claus is able to do all the things he does. The reindeer are huge. I mean, they're like giants in this. And then we see them, create their own. And then when they're in the city, they have a runway that they run off, which they also need when they go into the mall. So the kids really don't realize it's the real Santa Claus at their mall. But they have Mora, which is like their Secret Service side. They have a hangar with the sleigh in there and stuff like that. And I thought all that was really, really lots of fun. So I don't know. I liked it, as you can tell. Do I think it's great? No, it's not a great movie. It's like Jumanji. Was Jumanji a great movie? No. But it was a fun movie. I liked the characters. We get to see Krampus in here. I didn't like the fact that the villain at the end was a whole CGI mess. I don't think we needed to go down that level. It's kind of like the same thing they did with Black Adam, where we have to have this huge, CG villain. I just didn't need that. The witch was enough. If the witch has had her powers instead, but instead they decided to do a gargantuan thing. I wasn't really happy with how that all worked. But I did like the ending. We got to see a wrap up, with Jack and all that stuff, and we got to see, what happened with Cal, so it did get all this stuff. And then I really kind of wish that it set up for a sequel. So we can kind of see what they had in mind for what more I had to do next, but they don't. They don't set up anything for that. I didn't stay for any post-credits, and if there was any post-credits, because normally if post-credits happen, it happens before the screen turns black, and we just get the streamline. Normally it's like we see, single card things of the actors, but that it was already with just the black screen with just names coming up. But anyway, I'm going to give this probably a 7.5. So, would I watch it again? Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it again. I liked a lot of the ideas in there. I liked the world building. I liked the city. I liked the action scenes. And it was funny that Chris Evans was asked, because he sees that he turns the cars into a real car. He wants a Wonder Woman action figure. So it's funny that it wasn't Marvel. It was DC instead. I didn't see what company put this out. I don't know if it was Warner Brothers or whatever. That would make it sense if they were going and pushing Wonder Woman. That would have been funny, though, if it was Warner Brothers and he turned the action figure into Gal Gadot or whatever. I would have thought that was funny. And then one of the other reviewers is like, oh, and, we had the snowman, which I thought the snowman scene was actually pretty good. There was all these hot girls on the beach, and he was almost like complaining that there was hot girls on the... That's the last thing I'm going to be complaining about. Hot girls in the bikinis. Although it was an odd place to have snowmen having a fight, but whatever. Anyway, I had fun with it. I'll probably watch it again. Tell me if I'm completely off board, or if you guys hate it. Then let me know why. But nobody really hated it. They just thought it was below average. And I didn't think it was below average. I just thought it was a fun time at the movies. It was kind of what I was in the mood for, which was even better. All right, well, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And if you can, give me a like, give me a thumbs up on this. That would be amazing. And if you can subscribe, that would really help me out. Ring that bell, ding, ding. And yeah, also, if you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee, there's a link in the description below, along with the link to the Kickstarter for Green Hornet. If you'd like to jump in on that and get notified, that's in there as well. Also, check out some other videos, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great week.